Welcome to the Business Spotlight podcast. My name is David Beeson. I am your host for today's conversation. And my guest today is Rebecca Connolly, the owner of Rebecca's Feast. We're going to be talking about her business, journey to business ownership, challenges of practices, and share what it's really like to build and operate a business. Rebecca, welcome to the show and thank you for being here today. I would love for you to
Thank,
give us a little bit of background of who you are and tell us about your business as well.
thank you so much for having me on today, David. I'm excited to share with you today. I am a personal chef of almost 20 years now. I started my business back in 2007, and as you can imagine, it's pivoted and had lots of challenges, but I've always run full time, so I will count that as a success. As a personal chef, I offer customized meal services in home to one-on-one for clients. So we customize menus according to preferences, dietary needs, and also food budgets. So it's very personalized. And I only cook for one client at a time, as opposed to, sort of meal prep commercial style. I also offer cooking classes as well as boutique dinner services. And I've recently added a coaching side to my business, mentoring women who love to cook to also find their own freedom in their own personal chef businesses.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Yeah, I need to talk to you because I mean, like, I can barely make mac and cheese. I swear. My wife, she's great at cooking, and then she'll be like, "I'm tired. You're gonna cook," and I'll cook, and she'll be like, "Oh man, I should
Oh
have never
no.
I should have never had you cook." That's how it always goes. Um, so generally speaking, just kind of setting the stage for the audience, what does your current ownership structure look like? Are you the sole founder and owner? Do you have a business partner? They're outside investors?
I am a solopreneur. I run my business on a sole proprietorship model. Many personal chefs move to an LLC, but since I haven't done any commercial work, I work solely in home with my clients. I haven't felt the need to move to that model.
Gotcha, gotcha. Um, so what's your day to day like? I'm curious.
Mhm. Day to day is, I love my day to day. That's the good thing about being in business for yourself, right? At the beginning of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, I have cook dates. So, I don't have kids at home anymore. We're empty nesting. So, I'm not on that school schedule before I have to get to cooking. But when I did have kids at home, we were up and early and got the kids to school. And then did the grocery shopping, headed to my client's house, did the cooking, the cleanup, the packaging, all the good food stuff, and then I was back in Carline by 2:33 in the afternoon, and then on to kids' activities and such. So it fit very nicely into a regular school schedule with my kids. Now that I don't have that rush in the morning, I'm a little bit more leisurely. So I get to my clients by 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm usually wrapping up by 2 or 3. And that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, sorry. Thursday and Friday, I reserve mainly for admin, consulting with new clients, writing menus for the following week, and then any special events that I might have planned, like cooking classes or parties, receptions, that sort of thing.
Awesome, yeah.
Mhm.
So to get into like personal chef life,
Yes.
did you go to culinary school or anything like that?
I did not actually. I grew up cooking. I come from a great cooking heritage on both sides of my family. Both my parents came from large families and had great cooking heritages of their own. So on my mom's side, I grew up with sort of the good home cooked, Southern style food. And my dad is Filipino. So I grew up with the entire, more of an Asian heritage on that side of the family. So we were always cooking. Holidays, get-togethers, everything revolved around food. And when I left home, I found myself watching lots of cooking shows and cookbooks, became my hobby. And cooking on the weekends, I was teaching actually during the week at a private school. But then weekends and evenings, I was just cooking, crazy cooking. And a friend finally suggested, she had been in restaurant management. She finally suggested, hey, why don't you give, working at some restaurants. I was in Boston at this point. Let me set you up with a couple of restaurants you can check out, see how you like it. And
Yeah.
one of my only claims to fame is working with Joanne Chang for a day in her original restaurant Mistral. That was her first stop after she completed her bakery training over in France and in New York. So, and needless to say, I was hooked, but I was not hooked on the restaurant style. There were a couple of other upscale restaurants in Boston I worked in as well, Hammersley's and Rialto. But yeah, restaurant lifestyle was not for me. I was already married and we wanted to have children. So
Yeah.
late nights and such, yeah, I needed to find a better way to feed my fuel my cooking passion for feeding people.
I have a friend who he graduated from culinary school about 3 years ago, and he went
Mhm.
off. He lives in Germany now because he got a job at a three-star Michelin restaurant
Oh,
as a
wow.
I forget the exact terminology, but he's in the kitchen. I know
Right.
there's
Oh,
so much
sure.
stuff that happens in the kitchen, but
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
he said the hours are like crazy.
they are.
He works like 10-hour days over there because like Germany's laws are different than here.
Mm-hmm.
So he
Mm-hmm.
works like 4 days, I think, instead of 5 days, and he works like 10 to 12 hours in 4 days, and it's like crazy
That's
over there.
amazing. But his experience, I mean, at a Michelin starred restaurant, that's got to be just
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, and he
Absolutely.
gets to go live in like Europe, you know. I mean, it's
Yeah,
pretty cool. It's a pretty
of
cool experience.
course. Yeah,
He sends me
absolutely.
pictures all the time, and I'm like, man,
You got to
that
go
mountain looks
visit.
so cool. Yeah. Um, so I'm curious, why did you what was the transition like for you, kind of transitioning from, working in the restaurant life to becoming a private chef?
Before, it was a slowdown for sure in a way, but also in another way, it added a whole other sort of arena of expertise that I needed to gain, right? Because I was in business for myself, so I was responsible for all the sort of the marketing, all the client interaction, not just the menus and not just the cooking. So it was. It was a learning curve for sure, and it was steep and it was quick because I didn't want to waste any time. When I finally transitioned, I had two small children at home, and I didn't want to return to teaching because that was a set schedule, 9 to 5, 8 to 4, and 20 kids in the classroom plus their parents. I was like, no, I can't. I want to be able to focus on my own family, and so I actually joined a personal chefs network. There were a couple of organizations back then when I started that offered mentorship and offered, that were run by restaurant chefs or culinary chefs who, decided that they also wanted to be personal chefs. And I spent at least, I think it was only like a couple of months, reading voraciously and asking lots of questions and just learning everything that I could about the model, about the structure, about the possibilities, even how to set up a website. I mean, this group that I joined, Personal Chefs Network, which eventually became part of the United States Personal Chefs Association. They were fantastic, and there were actually there was actually a local chapter that also mentored me. So within a couple of months, I was up and running, and by the end of that first summer, I had actually filled my met all of my original business plan goals, which was absolutely amazing. The personal chef business was good in San Antonio, Texas, back in 2007. So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm.
Um, so as you look back on your journey so far, what has been like the biggest roadblock or hurdle that you were challenged with that you had to overcome?
The biggest roadblock was definitely moving my business from San Antonio to Oklahoma City. We moved up here in 2012. So that was now what, almost, yeah, 12, 13 years ago. And I knew the upside was personal chefing is a mobile business, right? So I'm not, location bound as I work in my clients' homes, but trying to transfer that to Oklahoma City, making sure all my listings online had their locations changed, and then just becoming familiar with a whole new market when it came to personal chefing.
Yeah.
But I did within the first year of moving up here. I had regular clients in Oklahoma City. I was writing recipes, excuse me, for an organic co-op that did, organic food boxes every other week, I think it was. And within a couple of years, had someone who was chefing with me who had always been interested in that business. And once a month, we offered to the community a larger sort of meal prep size scaled service that we did rent a commercial kitchen for. So things did pick up, but it was definitely, you know, gave me pause to kind of catch my breath and remember that this was possible.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious. So, how did well, especially with personal chefing, having to go into other people's homes and things like that, how did the pandemic affect your business in 2020?
Well, in some ways it grew because people got tired of cooking for themselves.
Yeah.
There's only so many days out of the week that you can support local businesses. We made sure to do our part for sure. But I actually, in some ways, some clients were still comfortable with me coming into the kitchens. We didn't have any contact when I was in the kitchen, and they always, we would spray down and all sorts of make sure everything was extra clean before coming in, coming out. Then I had other clients who were more comfortable with me cooking in a commercial kitchen, and then they would come pick up from me.
Mm,
Delivering to them requires a different license, but I could, as a personal chef, you could rent a commercial kitchen, falls under your liability insurance, and then they can come pick up from you. So for some
gotcha.
clients, they were more comfortable with that.
Gotcha. That's super cool. So what makes your business unique? How do you communicate what
Mhm.
makes your business stand out against the competition?
I think what makes a personal chef business unique, and mine in particular, because there are different versions of personal chef services, what I really like to focus on is that one-on-one service, helping a client create a healthy, sustainable lifestyle. Because as studies have shown, if clients can or if people can cook for themselves in their own kitchen or have someone cook for them, their likelihood of creating a sustainable, healthy lifestyle increases by at least 30%. So we always start each client relationship, or I always start each client relationship with a deep dive into their preferences, both, their taste, their preferences. I even ask things like, what do you eat at a restaurant? What do you most likely cook? What color vegetables do you never want to see on your plate? And then we meld those with any dietary guidelines or dietary restrictions. And I really learned to cook for them. And that's what I tell them. I focus on the long-term relationship client. So this is, I'm learning to cook for them. This will take a couple of cook dates to, settle into a routine and a rhythm, and hopefully it works out for everyone.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, the cooking like for like a healthy lifestyle, I couldn't agree more. Before me and my wife moved in together,
Mhm.
especially whenever I was in college, I mean, it was just like, oh, yep, fast food, fast food, fast
Oh,
food.
yes. And we were
Yeah,
younger.
yep, yep. Taco
For sure.
Bell, Taco
Yes.
Bell twice a week, Texas Roadhouse once a week is not
Those
good. So,
Doritos tacos.
yeah. And my wife, she's kind of a fitness health nut. So I'll be like, "Oh man, I'm gonna go get McDonald's." And she's like, "No, I'm cooking." And I'm like,
Oh,
"Okay."
those French
Uh,
fries have 10 ingredients,
yeah.
but they're so good.
Yeah.
That's
Uh
great, though. That's great.
so kind of transitioning over into marketing. So
Sure.
I have a background in digital marketing. I do videography and
Oh,
um
wonderful.
and marketing for a bunch of different businesses.
Mhm.
So I'm always curious what successful businesses are doing. What percentage of your monthly sales typically is invested back into your marketing budget?
Oh, marketing budget. I do a lot of organic marketing on social media. I think I've maybe run one Facebook ad for a cooking course that I put together. But I mainly focus on my website. And that's what really drove my business back in 2007, website referrals and also just in-person referrals from other chefs in the personal chefs in the city. So I can't say that I spend too much on marketing itself. And also a personal chef can only hold so many one-on-one clients. I think 8 to 12 clients a month is, so I'm not looking to scale the personal
Yeah.
chef business. But I do have an email list. I do have a SMS campaigns that I run regularly. So if that falls under marketing, then I do spend on that. I have all-in-one platform that I use for my CRM and such. And I do have I have my website. So not, I don't know, maybe 10-15% of what I bring,
Nice.
I
Nice.
think.
Awesome. Yeah. The yeah, I think A lot of businesses, I'm happy to hear that you're doing a lot of organic. I think a lot of businesses honestly are trying to go almost and lean too much into like the paid style a lot of the time, at least from people I talk to, where
Mhm.
at least in my studies and what I've learned and done, a lot of times organic and just making your own social media content and not having to spend all this money on it
Yes.
can be just as good and bring you just as many clients, especially if you're making good content.
Hmm. I hope, well, I'm trying. I hope so. I've noticed though that whenever I just step up my social media presence just even a little bit on, especially on my business pages, I start to get inquiries and more referrals. So it's really kind of, well, it's, confidence building. It helps.
Yeah.
Headed in the right direction. So.
So moving from marketing to sales, what does your sales process look like? Like if I were to refer someone over to you, what can they expect to experience?
Mhm. Well, we first do just a quick phone call. I like to do a quick phone call just to make sure that we're a right match for each other, that what they're looking for is in a personal chef or in meal services is what I can provide. And a lot of times clients and potential clients will also wonder about starting fees. What does an average cook date or an average service look like budget wise? Then we move to a consultation. These days, I can either do them virtually or in home, depending on the client's schedule or potential client's schedule. And that's when we go through the questionnaire. We do the deep dive, and then we also talk about the first menu. We set the first cook date, and after that. 15-20 minute free meeting, then I will send over the client personal chef agreement so that we just know what to expect on either side. And that asks for the initial deposit. And we also talk about containers. They have containers. Do we need containers? A lot of clients like, the brand new set of matching containers with colors and lids and
Yeah.
such. That's always fun, right? To have it in your fridge and your freezer. And then usually from that from the free consultation, it's usually 1 to 2 weeks, depending on their anticipated frequency of service before their first cook date.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm.
Um, so I know that you said that it's just you in the business. I'm curious, have you thought about scaling or adding on any other team members or anything like that? Or you kind of like where it's at?
I hire per service. So I have worked with like a front of house team if I needed some like for dinner parties. I have done large scale events, 100 people or more in home or on site where I do need servers and someone running my front of house and might also need, a sous chef in the kitchen. So but I hire per service, not on a permanent basis. I mean, there are plenty of chefs who have hired teams, and that's how they run their business. But I really do kind of prefer the one-on-one.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically for bigger stuff, you'll hire like independent contractors to come in
Yes,
and kind of help you out. Gotcha. That makes
yes,
sense.
absolutely.
Awesome. So, are you ready to transition to a couple rapid fire questions?
Sure, let's do it.
Awesome. What is the key to success for you?
Consistency, for sure. Consistency rooted in clarity. That has made the biggest difference in keeping my business moving for almost 20 years.
Awesome. Yeah, you answered that one fast. So that's definitely the one that's like, yeah, that's like right on your mind. Um, what is your one piece of advice for other business owners?
Don't wait. Don't wait for perfection. Start where you are, start with what you have, and everything else will come from action for moving forward.
I couldn't agree more. What is a book or podcast you're reading or listening to right now?
Book or podcast. There is the one that I'm reading right now. There have been many. I tend to try to read at least a book a week or keep it on Audible, right? Especially when I'm cooking, keep an AirPod in. The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer, I think it is, Comer. We live in such a busy hustle culture, and hustle is not a bad word. I mean, there are times when, when you're building, especially that the things will be more busy, but just trying to sort of take a breath and be intentional and purposeful with our time during the day really makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I agree with you on the word hustle. I think that it's been completely misconstrued due to
Hmm.
hustle culture on
Yes,
Instagram and TikTok and
yes,
stuff. I think it's been kind
yes.
of taking a word that's not bad and kind of giving it like
And
a
giving
weird
it
light.
Yeah. Absolutely. There's times you gotta hustle
Yep.
if you want to get it done. So for sure.
So this is kind of a fun question that I always love to ask. If you had a little bit of magic dust and you could pick one spot in your business to sprinkle in, everything would be perfect. Where would it be and why?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to go with all that content creation for social
Yeah,
media, staying on top of I mean, I have my systems in place, and I do, and I try to do all that cross posting and and be in all the places all the time. But yeah, if I could sprinkle some magic dust and have all that happen a little bit more magically, that would be fantastic.
awesome. Well, before we get to the final question of the day, would you like to share with the audience how they can follow you, learn more, contact you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on social media, hopefully almost everywhere, Facebook and Instagram, Rebecca's Feast. And I'm also on LinkedIn and Pinterest. And I do have a YouTube channel, Kitchen Confidence with Rebecca, where I have weekly shows as well as cooking videos.
It's awesome. Well, we've come to the final question of the day, and that is what is most inspiring to you today?
Most inspiring to me is when I have a woman or a client or a busy family who just has that sigh of relief when it comes to uh, the joy of eating. They finally rediscovered they can enjoy dinner time. They're not fighting their kids, they're not fighting their diet guidelines. They're enjoying their meals and they've regained time and they've regained budget in their own kitchens.
I love that. Well, this has been a great conversation. I really enjoyed getting to hear your story. So thank you so much for sharing. Also, I just encourage all of you watching to save the show and come back to watch again because Rebecca really did have some great insights for business. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so that way you get notifications every time a new conversation drops just like this one. Thank you to everyone who joined us today, and a special thanks to you, Rebecca, for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And I will see you all in the next episode.